All right, everybody, welcome back to Nobody's Safe. Nobody's safe, nobody's safe. I'm back here. This is Jason Watkins, the host of the show. I am back with my co-host and frenemy, Bryce Pinson.
He loves me.
And we're, yeah, definitely my frenemy. Love him most of the time. Sometimes not so much.
That's a fact.
That is a total fact. You know, there's no two ways around that. Now, we were talking a little bit earlier. In fact, I hope everybody's been paying attention to Bryce on TikTok. He's actually got a lot of videos that's been popping out the last couple of weeks, and it's been kind of blowing up on there, bro.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Good for you,
I don't have a
man.
lot
That's
of
pretty
followers.
awesome
Everyone
stuff,
watches it, and they just talk trash and tell me I'm stupid, but they continue to watch, and I get a bunch of likes, but no one wants to follow, and I'm cool with that. If y'all want to follow me. I'm good.
Yeah, that's kind of where we're at. And you know, hey, we're gonna. In fact, Bryce, go ahead and tell them what's your handle.
It's just fantasy sports with Bryce. You know, I'm a stats guy, and I think I have a lot to offer in fantasy sports. So if you're playing fantasy football and you want to win your league, like I play Apex Legends. I know I'm gonna get nerd out on you a little bit, but there's this character. Her name's Wraith. She says, "Follow me if you want to win," and that's a fact. Follow me if you want to win in fantasy football.
And guys, that's actually something that's going to be a big part of as we grow our channel and what we're doing here at Nobody's Safe. Bryce's fantasy sports is definitely going to be a big part of that. But I had to kind of come at him a little bit today. He got into and I don't know, a bit of this I kind of agree with, but actually let's let him hear the audio here, and we'll go from there.
In one of my last videos that read, quote, "One season, you have to be kidding me. Trevor Lawrence is a once-in-a-generation talent," end quote. I don't blame the kid, and I assume he's either a kid or he just doesn't watch much football. The reason I don't blame him is because this is what he's been hearing from the media. I even heard almost the exact same quote from my sportswriter friend Jason. Jason knows better, and I never give him a free pass.
All right, we'll tell you what. Since we're going to go into that, we'll just go from here on that, okay? First of all, I did not say he was a once-in-a-generational talent. I said that he looked pretty good. We'll see. But go ahead. Continue on
I feel
with
like
what you were
did
saying.
I don't remember exactly when it was, but one time we were talking, and I was telling you I liked Justin Fields, which look how that turned out. And you said, and I said I didn't like –
I don't think that's a problem for him.
And I told you, I was like,
go ahead.
Hey, man, and this guy's a bust. And it was before we saw him play it down in the NFL. This was last year. And we were talking, and you literally quoted the media, and you're like, oh, well, he's a once-in-a-generation talent. How do you hate it? Okay, well, then maybe I'm tripping. Maybe it wasn't you, but you got told. I've heard that multiple times. I could have swore it was you.
Right.
So I apologize.
First and foremost, I don't hate Trevor Lawrence. I watched Trevor Lawrence do things against NFL defenses at Alabama that makes me think that he's could be good. Now, one thing I will tell you about any quarterback coming out is that generally speaking, they go to the worst teams. So I don't do a lot of anointing quarterbacks coming out. Even if they looked great, I believe that Justin Fields has a chance to be good. I think that he plays for the Bears, so it may be hard. You know, it depends on I don't know who they. From what I could tell, they didn't really add any pieces to help him as far as receivers and stuff are concerned this year. So I'm not positive there. But I do like Justin Fields. I also like I like Trevor Lawrence. Now, what I'm going to tell you is that the reason that I don't anoint anybody is because they end up going to places like Jacksonville, or they end up going to somewhere like the Browns, who are going to Brown. You know, that's what they do. Listen, I have a hard time believing in a lot of that. So as far as the class that we're talking about, and I'm a Niner fan, so take this as you will, but I do feel like Trey Lance has the best opportunity to be great.
You know,
because of who and I said this to you earlier, you know, he's got Kyle Shanahan. True. You know, if you brought Trevor Lawrence in to play for Kyle Shanahan or for Sean McVay, what do you think about him then?
Exactly. And there's more that goes into it. Obviously, However, if you can't get the quarterback position right, so here's the deal. With Kyle Shanahan, with the greatest coach in the world, with the greatest offensive line in the world, with the greatest running back in the world, if you have a bad quarterback who's turning the ball over, you're not going to win football games in the NFL. So that's kind of my point, and I feel like that's where we're at with Trevor Lawrence. I really do. I don't care if he plays for one of the best teams in the league, kind of like Mitch Trubisky. He had a really good offensive coordinator, and I really –
Hot takes with Bryce. Hot takes with Bryce.
I just don't even – I don't see it with either of those guys. They remind me of the same player. They're both very, very athletic. They have big arms, but it's just that thing between the ears, man, that brain. I look at them and I just wonder, and maybe I'm wrong, but I just don't see a very intelligent football player there. And you got to be more than just an Mitch. You got to be intelligent to play in the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
You have to have foot, and then you get that talent, Jason, and you've been told you're the best all your life. Are you going to work hard to learn? Like Drew Brees worked hard to learn because he went to Purdue. You know what I'm saying? And he studies his film and all that. Are those guys going to do that?
Well, and I mean, and he grew up in Austin. He was in Texas's backyard, and they didn't even care about him. And honestly, that's the same with a lot of guys. But like Baker was like that. Him, Samaje Perine. There's a lot of guys that came out of Austin that really didn't get looked at and that are in the league. So,
and that's my point. You can't predict on a quarterback. If you have a great running back in Texas, a great one, that guy's going to the NFL. You can predict it. You can say he's going to be great unless he starts smoking weed like Ricky Williams.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? You can't do that with
and Ricky was great anyway.
You're right.
Ricky was great anyway. Josh Gordon, if that dude would have quit smoking weed, he might have been one of the top 10 dudes all time as far as receivers.
100%.
Hey, listen, Robert Griffin won that Heisman that year. He should pay and thank freaking Josh Gordon every day of his life for getting him that statue. Period. Because Josh Gordon was the man that year at Baylor. RG3, that was who he was throwing to at Baylor.
Oh, my gosh. I'm so sorry, dude. I thought you were talking about the NFL. You said Heisman Trophy. I thought you were talking about Rookie of the Year. Yeah, because he won Rookie of the Year, too.
No, when he got –
So, my bad. I just heard you wrong.
Yeah.
But you're right.
No. But, I mean, like, him winning that Heisman, it wasn't just because of him. And, I remember you saying this a few weeks back on the Nobody's Safe podcast, on the
Way Past Due.
The Way Past Due podcast, where you were talking about how some, we say that generally when a quarterback goes in to the Hall of Fame, they usually bring their top receiver with them, right? And you said, and this is probably one of the things that I've remembered the most, and I've talked about it a lot since then, is that honestly, a lot of times the receiver drags the quarterback
like Andy
with
Dalton.
him. And I think that
remember Andy Dalton whenever he had, I think it was T.O. They had
AJ.
AJ Green. Didn't T.O.
Well, yeah. When Andy Dalton first got there, T.O. and no, because Palmer was there with T.O. and Chad.
Are you sure? Okay. Either way, all I'm saying is there was one year. There was one year where Andy Dalton had incredible receivers, and he had one good year, and he fooled us all. We all thought the Red Rifle was a great quarterback, and all of a sudden we look back and we're like, you take away that season, he's John Kitna. That's who he is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, and I don't think that Kitna was the worst quarterback in the world, but I think that Andy is a
and that's another guy.
Serviceable that you can trust to put him in. He's not going to make the worst mistakes in the world. He's not going to necessarily win you games. He's what I always thought Alex Smith really was, and I hate to badmouth Alex Smith because of what he came back from and blowing his leg up like that. But what I'll tell you is that as a starter, Alex Smith looked good when he had great coaches calling the right plays for him and not making him throw the ball deep.
Exactly. And I think Alex Smith is obviously captain check down. He likes the short passes. He takes what the defense gives him, which NFL guys love that. You get a guy who doesn't turn the ball over. And honestly, that's kind of what I was talking about.
But he can never do what Brett Favre did.
Oh, no.
You know what I mean? That doesn't make you great.
It makes it to where you're not going to lose a game. Like you can win a Super Bowl with that guy, kind of like Trent Dilfer. Right. Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl. He didn't never won a game, but he didn't lose them.
No, I was fixing to say he won a Super Bowl because he had the best defense.
You can win
of
with
all
those
time.
guys.
Arguably, them and the 85 Bears were the two best defenses
and it's because those guys don't lose games. If you have a great team around them, they're not going to turn the ball over. They're not going to make a stupid play. Same with Alex Smith. Right. But like, if you have a guy that's turning the ball, that he can be incredibly athletic, but if he can't take care of the ball, you can't win a Super Bowl with that guy. You just can't do it. And that's where I think we're at with Trevor.
Right. Well, Nobody's Safe. This is the Nobody's Safe podcast with Jason and Bryce. Just wanted to go ahead and we're going to take a quick break here. But what I wanted to go ahead and give a shameless plug to the Way Past Due podcast. We are now past the time of it was the day to get in. All the nominations was June 1st. We are now waiting on to see if Otis Taylor from the Kansas City Chiefs will get into the next round of voting, I guess is what it is. Essentially, he needs to become a semifinalist. They go from 100 down to 25 down to 12 semifinalists, which will put him along the way. We have spent hours and hours and hours and days and days and days working on this campaign to get Otis Taylor into the Hall of Fame. I would love it if everybody got on there, took a look at what we're doing. It's Otis Taylor, OTISTAYLOR, 4 HOF.com. We are also on YouTube. We are on Facebook. We are pretty much everywhere. So take a look at what we've done because Are you ready to start your podcast journey? Hey, nothing better than Riverside FM. This is the Easy Do It studio. Video, audio, the whole 9 yards. Riverside actually does most of all the work for you. You do not have to be an editing genius. All you have to do is focus on great content. Riverside FM is the way to go. Give it a shot. Something that we came up with just in the last few weeks, and I've really been hitting hard on it this last week and a half, is the apples to apples stat comparisons that I came up with myself. The latest one, I kind of compared you to a current Chief and Travis Kelce, and honestly was going to ask you what you thought about that, bringing him along, because even though he's a tight end,
incredible one,
same amount of years, listen, the guy's insane. You know, Travis, and in no way are we bad mouthing anyone we compare him with. What we're trying to show is that he is on that level. So take a look at it. This is a production stat more than it is just a raw, 7,000 yards and however many touchdowns. So take a look at that and get a hold of these folks at the Hall of Fame. Call them out on not having Otis Taylor in the Hall.
I want to say something too, real quick, Jason. Hey, I want y'all to know Jason's going to put the link to that website and to the apples to apples in the description of this video on YouTube. If this one makes it to YouTube. But either way, every video that we have on YouTube, we will have that link to the description. So whenever you go to Nobody's Safe in YouTube, just find any video that we have, and there will be a link to the Apples to Apples website and to the Hall of Fame website for Otis Taylor and to Nobody's Safe on YouTube. So if you want to support Otis Taylor going to the Hall of Fame and you don't know where to find us and you're not good at writing it down, maybe you're driving, you're a truck, I don't know what you do. Maybe you're driving, you can't just pull over and write that down. We will have a link in the descriptions from now on.
Absolutely. That's something that we're getting better at this, guys, but it's just us doing it. We're coming along. We're putting our team together, and it's something that hey, the thing is, we're getting excited about this, and this is something that we do. But just to, again, like I said, Otis belongs in the Hall of Fame. In fact, we call it way past due because he should have been in the Hall of Fame a long damn time ago. And we believe that. And hey, look, take a look at the one that we did this last week. It's we essentially, we forgot to actually change out our rankings in it, but it's something that we might add a video supplement to it to add that in there. I have him in my top 2 to 3 all-time receivers, period. And go to the apples to apples, you can see why. He's not going to catch up to Jerry Rice, and he may not have caught up to T.O. or Randy Moss because of longevity. What I'll tell you is The longevity part of it is due to the fact that he got beat to death during his time. They didn't have an illegal contact rule. Even pass interference was rarely called in those times. The game was different. And on top of that, they didn't play as many games. So there's a lot of reasons that his numbers don't look exactly right. And that's why the apples to apples comparison is so important, because it goes by production based on what your team was doing. The truth of it is when it comes to him and Travis Kelce, they both catch 21% of the completions for their careers of their team. 21% of the current Chiefs is 700 footballs. 21% of the former Chiefs was 400.
Yep. Big difference.
There's no reason. I mean, it doesn't make sense why you would expect him to have the same amount of yards, but apparently they do. So, you need to look at the right thing. Anyway, back to Trevor Lawrence. So I guess my question to you, what is it that you hate about him? I mean, talk to me about that, and just kind of go back through what you were talking about on the video.
I mean, if you want to, I don't. Okay, I'll talk about what I was talking about in the video, but what I hate about him, and it's not that I necessarily hate him, it's that whenever he first came out of high school, he was one of the top recruits. He might have been the top recruit, kind of like Mark Sanchez was. Both of them were the top recruits coming out of high school. Then they were also like top quarterbacks coming out of college. And these guys should have been incredible. Well, whenever I was so excited to watch this kid play in college at Clemson. I know they had a few good quarterbacks.
Bro, he won the national championship as a freshman.
Time out. Eric Crouch, I'm pretty sure, won a national championship, and I don't think anyone would argue that he should be a quarterback in the NFL. I mean, there's plenty of guys.
Oh, no, he wasn't. Well, but he never threw the football.
And I'm not saying those guys are the same. All I'm saying is winning the national championship as a quarterback in college doesn't always put you as a good NFL quarterback.
But he didn't do it running the ball or anything like that. He did it. He picked apart Alabama in the national championship.
He did absolutely great. But the college game is different than the pro game. And whenever adjustments are made, whenever you're playing the same guys over and over and over, and the teams don't change over and over and over, you know what you get. You know what to get with the coaches. You know what to get in the conferences.
Well, that was his first time playing Alabama. That was his first time playing Alabama, and look, and then he beat Justin Fields in Ohio State in the playoff a couple of years after that. He had a couple of losses there too, but I mean, the thing is what he did in college was absolutely worthy.
Okay,
of
here's my point.
Pick.
Let me just go to just NFL QBs. I just kind of want to go down the list. So I have this superpower, Jason, that I don't tell a lot of people about. I don't really have to look where these guys went to college. Usually I can look at the name and know, and you can probably do the same a lot of times and just know exactly where they went to college. Because you know what that means, Jason? We watch way too much football. That's what that means. But if I go to –
You call it way too much. I call it not enough. Go ahead.
Top NFL.
I miss football right now, as a matter of fact.
Anyways,
holy crap, I miss football.
You'll see a trend whenever I start going down this list. We'll see how many players went to Clemson, how many players went to Alabama, how many players there's one thing I always tell my guys at work whenever they're like, hey, we need a good linebacker in the draft. And I'm like, I mean, you can take the guy in the third or fourth round, just draft whoever played for Georgia or Alabama. You can even take their backup. I don't care. Whoever played, there's honey holes that you can pick on these teams and get great NFL players. You can't do that at quarterback.
Yeah, that's where you want to go to LSU for receivers or used to be Texas for defensive backs, but now it's more LSU for them too. So, or Alabama. But yeah, I get you.
Yeah, so
I get you.
With that being said, there's not one for quarterbacks. And kind of what I was saying
they come from everywhere.
And I think the key is, here's the key. I talked about Mark Sanchez. I talked about Trevor Lawrence for a reason because they're the same to me. They didn't play. Okay, yeah, you're right. They played Alabama three times in his career, probably 2 or 3.
Sanchez didn't.
You know what I'm saying? What's up?
Yeah, go ahead. Sanchez didn't get those games.
Exactly. But, I mean, he didn't get a lot of them. He played in the ACC, bro. He was playing North Carolina and Duke every week. So he faced some adversity. Trevor.
Oh,
he
Trevor.
faced some adversity, but he doesn't face adversity every single week like in the NFL. So you get these guys who come in there, and they're not used to playing in a muddy pocket, as Trent Dilfer dubbed that term. You know, I stole that from Trent Dilfer. But they're not used to having people's arms reaching over and grabbing their shoulder while they're trying to make a throw. And at every pass, there's hands in their face. They have clean pockets. They have clean offensive lines.
Yeah.
And you get in high school and in college, that's what you're throwing against. Then you get thrown into the NFL. It's a different world. Big Ben played at Miami of Ohio, and lost 11 games. And he's one of the best quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in the league.
Well, if you look at listen, I mean, even like right now, you look at Allen for the. I mean, he played at Wyoming.
Yeah,
they're garbage in the Mountain West. They are garbage in the Mountain West.
How many games did he win in Wyoming? Not a lot.
He may have won a few. But I'm guessing not many because I know they didn't win.
Where Joe Flacco, Purdue's not. I mean, they're a good football college, but
Purdue, it's a Big Ten school.
But you're right. School. But they're not the best Big Ten school, so he's had to throw in some muddy pockets.
Oh no, they generally suck. Yeah, you usually see Purdue when they're playing Notre Dame on the Notre Dame network of NBC. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, who cares about Purdue? But again, they have had a few decent. I mean, I remember, didn't they have Kyle Orton too? At one
he's
point?
Decent. Yeah,
was one of the quarterbacks as well.
You're right. They do.
Yeah, I mean,
I
he
love
was a
Kyle
pro
Orton.
quarterback.
I love
what I was
exactly.
About. Golly, I can't believe I remembered that either.
But you're right.
But like, for instance, you know, we're talking about guys like, if you look at let's say Phillip Rivers, who went to NC State. You know, he was great in the league for a long time. You know, that's where Russell Wilson went to NC State first, and then went Wisconsin.
Oh, he never played for
Wisconsin,
Stanford,
bro.
You're right. But he never played for Stanford. Okay, you're right. Sorry.
No. And then, but then you've got guys like, I mean, as far as Stanford goes, I mean, they had Andrew Luck, and they didn't win anything.
No doubt, man.
They didn't win anything until after Luck was gone. You know, until that they won something. So, and they didn't win anything really then, but they were one of the top teams in the Pac-10. Now Pac-12.
But just going down this list, Carson Wentz, North Dakota State.
Listen, I mean, right.
Mac Jones, I think, is an exception. I do think he's good. I think he will be good, and I think it's because one, like you said, he's going to a good situation. Ryan Tannehill, Texas A&M. They're not even the best team in their division. Where'd Jimmy Garoppolo go?
Jimmy G, it was somewhere like that too.
I think it's somewhere way worse.
It may have been Miami of Ohio or something like that. It might have been somebody like them. I don't remember him, but I don't
Boston
think he's
College,
that good.
Bro. Matt Ryan went to Boston College. Kirk Cousins, where did he go? You know what I'm saying? Like, these guys come out of the good ones. Derek Carr, they come out of these small schools where they're not used to winning, not used to playing with the best offensive. Because when you get in the NFL, you're going to have some bad games, bad seasons, and you better be tough mentally. You better be mentally intelligent, both socially, emotionally.
Well, you even look at guys like Montana. Montana came out of Notre Dame, but they weren't the best team in the country.
And they play a tough schedule every single year.
Yes, they do.
More of an NFL schedule.
The one thing about Notre Dame is they can't get the same recruits that SEC schools get. But they play the same teams. I mean, they will play anybody. They're not. The one thing you can't say about Notre Dame is that they duck.
Name one Miami. Remember when Miami was so good? They had Ed Reed, Sean Taylor, Michael Irving.
Yeah, convicts.
Yeah, that's what reminded me of it. Name one good quarterback that came out of that. I can only think of one. Who came from Miami?
From during any of that time, Bernie Kosar was great. He was great in the league.
Okay. Vinny Testaverde, that's the only one I remember.
Yeah. I can remember some of the quarterbacks from back then. During Ed Reed's time, it was as soon as I say I remember it, I forget his name all of a sudden. But it was
I don't remember either.
When they won their back-to-backs again.
I know
you remember who I'm talking about, those skinny white guy. Yeah.
But these guys don't make it in the league. That's the point.
His name just now. No, he didn't. And I remember when they had Gino Toretta wins the Heisman Trophy at Miami, right? They get smoked by Bama in the national championship game that same year, but which was the last time Bama was any good until Saban got there. But I remember that he got exposed, and he was going to be the number one pick, and I don't even remember where he ended up. I think he still went early, and I never heard of him again.
And that's the point.
I never heard of him again. No, busts happen. And that's what I was saying, is that I think you could be right. I don't know that you're right yet. Now, what I'll tell you is you got a good chance of looking like you're going to be right because he plays for the freaking Jags. And listen, if you're going to tell me that they know how to draft and get good players, then I tell you, if you like Gardner Minshew so much, which you apparently do, they let him out of there.
So, Jason, right there, think about that.
So that makes them they're not that.
Think about
smart.
that, Jason. You just made a great point that I didn't really think of. So you took a guy who didn't have any adversity in high school, didn't have any adversity in college, and threw him into a team where you're like, we're going to throw the most adversity on you possible. We're going to give you the crappiest offensive line, the worst receivers, the worst team, and we're even going to take away DJ Chark from you, and we're going to let him go somewhere else.
Oh, why do they do that?
And that's what I'm saying. Like, you take these guys.
I think they got Travis Etienne this year. Though. They did.
And I like that kid, and they'll have some familiarity with each other.
He was a stud,
have some familiarity for sure. And hey, let me just play devil's advocate. If I am wrong, it's more because of this. So my brain is having trouble with the new NFL. The new NFL is looking more like college every single day. The fact that Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson can play in the league, like that tells me right there that it looks more like college every day.
Listen, you know me, I love Oklahoma. And generally speaking, I love Oklahoma quarterbacks. Yeah. I hated Jalen Hurts the entire season that he was at OU. I threw a fit. I went and watched him in person at Baylor and was ready to walk out of that damn stadium at halftime because it was freezing ass cold and they're down 21. And I'm like, I'm done with this guy. Fuck this dude. But Lincoln had the right game plan. They scored coming out of the half, and I was like, all right, we'll stay for a little while longer. Then they ended up coming back and winning. It wasn't because of Jalen Hurts. He kept Jalen safe. He should send gift baskets.
That's why he's in the league
every day that he's a starter.
Because he would, if he don't go to Oklahoma, he would not be in the league. And everyone knows that.
No way, dude, because he was damaged freaking goods leaving. He got his job taken by a guy that I'm not sure is going to be good in the league. He doesn't look like he's gonna.
I love going through his stats because I get killed on TikTok every time I bring up Jalen Hurts' name. So let me bring up these stats, dude. It is so funny because every time they say, well, Gardner Minshew, I always say Gardner Minshew's better than Jalen Hurts. And they say, well, Gardner Minshew crapped the bed against Dallas. All right. So Jalen Hurts threw up for 109 yards against Green Bay, 167 against Philadelphia, 72.
Yeah, how many games are you under 200, bro? As a freaking starter in this
72 yards against Washington, 190
Sounds
against
like Lane
San
Dawson numbers in the
Francisco,
freaking 60s.
115 against Tampa Bay, 198 against Carolina. It goes on and on. Detroit, 103. Like, he crapped the bed one game, and you're saying, comparing him to Jalen Hurts. Gardner Minshew had one bad game, and you're telling me, get out of here.
And that's another thing. Look, man, there is no accounting for crappy coaching in the NFL, and it's out there. Okay, there are crap coaches. We've talked about this already before. Although it never made the air.
But the lost episode.
When you start talking about the lost episode, which will remain lost, it's
not because it's good.
Remain lost. No, it's garbage, hot garbage. and we don't have to get into Baker Mayfield, but I'm going to say there's guys like Kevin Stefanski, there's guys like Cliff Kingsbury that I wouldn't want coaching my Pee Wee team.
The fact that Cliff Kingsbury can coach in the league tells you how much the game has turned more to a college game rather than a pro game. And it's not even these.
But he's never winning. It's the same as how it was at Tech with him, that they might come out and win 5 or 6 games to start off with, but second half of the year,
and the stats are going to look good.
Under Cliff, they are going to be garbage. Yeah, I don't care about stats. I want wins. I want wins, bro. And, I couldn't – but not only did they not fire Cliff at the end of last year, they extended him. What the
timeout?
Wow! As a Niner fan, I say thank you.
But timeout, man. I live in Phoenix, and here's the thing. I think whenever he was winning all those,
you're going to tell me they should have extended him?
Whenever you've had such a long run, I mean, they had one good year with Bruce Arians, but when you're the Cardinals and you win a few games in a row, extend that guy. Extend the guy. I'm just kidding. I don't hate Cliff. You're
extending the misery because that is hot garbage, dude.
Oh, man.
Coach Hey Girl is the worst coach in football by a lot. The dude couldn't win in the Big 12, bro. He couldn't win in the Big 12, and he had Patrick Mahomes and Baker Mayfield.
Timeout, though. He didn't.
You said I know you hate Baker, but you said yourself he's one of the best college football players of all time.
100%. I mean, he is one of the best I've ever seen play college. All I'm saying,
he didn't win with either one of those guys. And Patrick Mahomes, everybody's got him as already a Hall of Famer. So don't tell me he hasn't. And he's got Kyler Murray now, who won the Heisman and was the number 1 pick. There's no excuse, bro.
Well,
there's no excuse.
There's my only excuse. Name a time when Texas Tech was ever winning football games. Besides the year with Crabtree.
Under Mike Leach. Mike Leach. Bull crap. Under Mike Leach, they were winning a lot.
Yeah, you're right.
They were winning a lot. That's why he was there
Cliff
for
Kingsbury.
15 years. Because
he's a poor man's Mike Leach. He's trying to be Mike Leach, but he's not.
He wishes he was Mike Leach, and he ain't. And even Mike's kind of lost it over the years. But look at Leach. He went to Washington State. He produced Garner Minshew, who you're talking about. He hasn't done anything at Mississippi State yet, and I find it hard to believe that he's going to. It's a tough situation.
Like the air raid probably isn't going to do super well in the SEC.
Hold up, I'm not positive about that part because Lane does it too, and he's winning.
Okay,
Lane's is a little different, but the fact that Lane Kiffin is in the same state as him. The fact that he's got it. I mean, it's just Mississippi State isn't fertile. It's not the most fertile recruiting ground. You know what I mean? You're going to get a lot of JUCO players, and honestly, that's probably why it fits Leach so well. I still feel like it's a tough sell for a lot of guys. Unless they give him the amount of time that he's going to need, which doesn't happen in the SEC. I don't really see him building that there. I don't know.
You're better at coaches than me.
I don't know.
You know what I'm saying? You're better at coaches than me.
Go ahead.
You said Lane Kiffin runs the air raid. I don't think air raid whenever I think of Lane.
It's not really an air raid, but
offense that is pass heavy.
Kind of, yeah, but it's super pass heavy. I kind of look at it in terms of it's really more new. I mean, I wouldn't call I guess, yeah, you're probably right there. It's not the air raid, but like, people think that that's what Lincoln ran, and he's a Leach disciple too.
I did not know that.
Air raid, quote unquote.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Hey, listen, man. People need to understand that Mike Leach,
the pioneer,
and now he came from Hal Mummy, who Hal Mummy gets a bad rap because he was kind of shady and slimy, but. How Mummy had New Mexico State winning football games, bro. They played for a conference championship under him. Go figure that. We're from New Mexico. We know these things. New Mexico State is.
I'll tell you
shit.
right now. Every so I use this website a lot of times when I'm gambling in college football. If I don't know the team, it's ESPN. Sorry, it's not just a website, but the ESPN.
Yeah, if anytime you ever need to make some money, bet against it.
Well, if you go to the ESPN Football Power Index, if you pull that up, it kind of like rates every single team in the NCAA that plays Division I football. And I promise you, UNM and NC State are always in the bottom 10 to 15. A lot of times NC State is like last or second from last.
NC State
NMSU,
or NMSU?
Sorry. NMSU, my bad.
Okay. Yeah.
NC State's way up
there.
Any New Mexico team, bottom 15
garbage.
every year.
Well, put it to you this way. Man, they played Alabama last year. It was 42-0 after the first quarter.
Man.
42-0 after the first quarter.
I can say I know what that feels like. Whenever we played Midland Christian that year, they beat us.
Remember that.
We were down
I remember
41
that game.
or 42-0 in the first quarter also.
I left it with Duda and split on that one. I was like, yeah, I'm good. I've seen enough.
It was so bad, dude. Courtney Greer, Kansas State. Yep.
Courtney Greer,
crushed
Kansas
us.
State. That dude's a stud, bro. Stud.
He carried the ball four.
No, but
again, he carried the ball 4 times, scored all 4 times.
Yeah.
4 touchdowns on 4 carries.
Bro, I know. And listen, he did that all. I mean, they won the state championship for private schools, which is definitely different. But they won the private school state championship like 3 years in a row. And I think he was on 2 of those teams. And, I mean, he wasn't good enough to play at Midland Lee, apparently.
I thought he got in trouble.
I mean, that was right around the same time. Yeah,
I don't know either.
I don't know exactly what all happened either there, but I know that he didn't. The thing that, and that's probably the thing that this is obviously something for another story, but in Midland, where they used to, in Odessa, where they used to be real good, if you think of Friday Night Lights, that's about Odessa Permian. They're all trash now because they've got these private schools that have popped up everywhere. And if their kid doesn't start immediately, they're pulling them. So it's a tough deal. And on top of that, the schools that are popping up in the Metroplex and places like that are just all these brand new schools. Holy crap. Texas football is insane.
Absolutely.
It is insane.
Absolutely.
Insane. It's as good as it gets. But, I mean, and that's the thing is you can tell looking at some of these guys, okay, the guys that are going to end up somewhere. Like, I knew that Vince Young, I mean, you watched him in college. I still believe that he might be – I still think he's probably the best college football player I've ever seen.
That's –
as far as what he did. That USC-Texas game, ungodly.
I'm trying to think.
Ungodly.
Vince Young's obviously up there. He comes to mind. I was young for some of this stuff whenever I talk about Tim Tebow
was another
5,
one of those guys.
Michael Vick.
Frost. You're right about Frost. I know you might be Michael Vick. Frost. But I'm talking what they did in college, like where they ended up, like a guy like Vince Young. Hey, he didn't win the Heisman, and and I'm not even saying he should have, because Reggie Bush.
I was going to say Reggie Bush is up there too. I mean, best college football players I've seen.
And Reggie was one of the greats too. But I'm saying what he did in that game, and for that matter, in the Red River game, much to my dismay that year, he ate Oklahoma alive that year. Ate them alive. And that doesn't happen that's the place where the Red River shootout, I still call it the shootout. It's the rivalry. Sorry, everybody.
Shootout's good. Because they don't really shoot out no more, do they? No, I guess they kind of do. They did this year. They do. But
it's hey, listen, man. I'm telling you, these guys. That game though is the stuff where you make your legend. I mean, I still think of the Roy Williams Superman play when he jumped over the line and stripped Chris Sims of the ball, turns it into a touchdown. We needed that play. Yeah, I mean, he's a legend because of it. If he never played in the NFL, he'd still be a legend because of it. He was a stud in the NFL too. But the main thing, I mean, you look at guys like that, but that game for Vince, I hate him. I still hate him to this time because he was so freaking good. I'm just not a big Vince Young guy because I'm not a Texas guy. So, but I still say, guys like him, Adrian Peterson would be another one of my guys that I say is one of the greatest college football players
That's
ever.
One of the first ones we named that actually made it in the league. Like the other guys we named threw out there. Well, Michael Vick too.
Bro, Adrian Peterson. I was watching a video of him on on Twitter earlier. He ran so violently.
Oh, dude, one of the best. I mean, honestly, if he never got hurt in the pros, we'd be talking like Barry Sanders.
He's still a first ballot Hall of Famer,
we'd be talking about him.
He's still a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Barry Sanders, Walter Payton, Adrian Peterson. That's how we would be talking about him. Better than Ricky Williams. Yeah.
Absolutely. I agree with it. Oh, yeah, dude. He lasted for so long, even though he probably shouldn't have. I mean, hell, he had a 90-yard touchdown a couple of years ago in Washington. He should have been washed up. Dude. You know, and he's still taking it to the house. I mean, Adrian Peterson is on another planet.
And in his brain, too. Like, I don't know if that guy, like, he thinks different. I don't know if he feels any pain. The guy just...
No, I think he's a cyborg, bro.
He's a machine,
he's a cyborg.
Yeah. Absolutely.
He's a Terminator. they send him with Schwarzenegger.
We need to do that on a show, Jason. We need to do like top 10 best offensive and like later another show like top defensive players college football during our time. That would be a blast because I used to love college football more than pro football. It slowly developed the opposite when fantasy football came out, but I like them both.
No, and I get it. And again, guys, make sure that you're checking out Bryce on TikTok and YouTube as well with the Nobody Safe podcast. But on TikTok, you want to, it's fantasy sports _ Bryce on TikTok. So I want everybody to make sure they go check that out. And if you're a fantasy football player and you're not seeking out what he's got to say, I mean, you know, I'm decent at fantasy football. I understand it, but yeah, Bryce is his depth of knowledge in that subject is pretty unparalleled. Matthew Berry and those guys,
they don't know.
Listen, man,
let me tell you
shit. So when it comes to if you really want to win, you want to go to the depths of where he's going. Some of the videos that you've had on there, by the way, where it's like, wow, I didn't really think about that, but you're right. You know, there's going to be guys that you could get later round that should be your first round pick. And you'll end up being able to get them later round and really do well with them. So if you want to win your fantasy football, make sure that you're paying attention to Bryce on TikTok because it's pretty in-depth stuff that most people, he should be charging for it is what I'm telling you.
You know,
so,
Jason has never said nicer words to me. I didn't know you had anything nice to say about me, honestly.
Yeah, I generally don't like to even do this. My stomach hurts right now from doing that.
Thank you for that, man. I appreciate it. Hey, I work hard. I try to never like throw anything out there that's dumb. I'm not just doing it to make content. I am researching.
And listen, man, I know I bust your chops a lot, but when it comes to fantasy football, I would defer to you all day, every day. When it comes to that stuff, because like I said, some of these things that, you know, the stuff about like Swift and who is it? The Dobbins. I wouldn't even think about J.K. Dobbins.
He's in a good situation this year. You know, he's a top 10 quarterback this year.
He's in a great situation.
Running back. Sorry, he's a top 10 running back, not quarterback.
Yeah. So I mean, there's some stuff that I've noticed that it's on there, and it's definitely so. You're not going to hear this on ESPN Fantasy. You're not going to hear this kind of stuff on even RotoWire or places like that, maybe on RotoWire, stuff like that. But they have to be really in depth in order for you to be able to hear that kind of stuff. So, or you're probably paying for the info for sure. So it's almost like the betting sites, you know, and that's one thing that when it comes to sports betting, that's something you're going to get a lot of from us as well. When the season gets started here, we are both gamblers. We both have, I lived in Las Vegas for 12 years. Maybe moving back soon, but either way, that's something that I don't lose at sports gambling.
You're better than me at that for sure, because I do sometimes for sure.
But you know, and it's that's some of the content that we feel like we can bring to you. A lot of this stuff, we're busting each other's chops and having a good time with it because we're sports fans just like you are. But you know, we're gonna give you value in those terms as well. And you know, talking, you know, just to go back real quick though about this, we're about out of time as it is. But you know, what I'll say about Trevor Lawrence is I get it. And there's been, look, the truth of it is I think it's the easiest to miss on quarterbacks. It's the easiest because of the fact that you do see that you're going to see a guy like Trevor often. because he played for Clemson and they were winning, and when you beat Alabama as a freshman and you look like Thor, you're going to see the kid a lot.
And that's the thing, dude, that comment
I mean?
you gave me was so funny. Are you sure that you hate Trevor Lawrence? Is it just because he has hair and you don't? Like, you're just, all right, guys, I'm bald. He got me. But, yeah, maybe that's what it is. And I don't even care. You know what? I hate him because his hair is like –
he is the – hey, listen, man, I remember thinking, good Lord, he's a freshman in high school or a freshman in college. He beats Alabama and probably could have won the Heisman. Where does he go? And he's probably the prettiest kid in the world.
You know,
he looks like Thor. And it's like, bro,
must be nice.
You gotta hate a kid. It's like, yeah, listen, man. It's like blessings on blessings for that kid. So I mean, it's easy to hate on him. I get that part. No, but honestly, though, I believe that you could be right about it. I don't know that I'm ready to put it there yet. But it wouldn't take long, but I honestly feel like it's not necessarily that Trevor's a bust. I think that it could be that the Jags are just a shit franchise.
It's all the same. It all comes in, and you feel bad for guys that go to a bad organization. That if they would have went to the Cowboys or they would have went to the Packers, I don't know about the Packers. But if the Packers are a great franchise, don't get me wrong, but the Packers have been blessed with Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre for years. I don't know how good their franchise is anymore. They've just been blessed with two great quarterbacks.
I don't know, man. I'll tell you this. I mean, they found Devontae. They talk a lot of trash about never giving, and Rodgers always uses it. Talk about a crybaby, dude.
I know,
Good
dude.
Lord. We could talk about that all day. I can't stand Aaron Rodgers now. I look, man. I can look at him and tell you that he's definitely one of the best quarterbacks of the generation for sure. He's not better than Brady, and he's not better than Peyton either. And the dude bitches to high act like a diva just a little more.
Man.
Good grief. Because he complains about you've never given me a first round wide receiver or a first round running back. All right, bro, hold on. When they gave you Devontae Adams and they gave you Aaron Jones, I don't give a shit where they came from. Those guys are both unreal football players.
If I get to play devil's advocate with them, you're right. They are unreal football players. But however, whenever we're about to find out how good Devontae Adams is.
Don't you tell me that Devontae Adams was only good because freaking him.
I'm not. And if I make a video about that too, if you want to go back. Actually, it's not up there yet. I'm about to make one about that. And it's about Devontae Adams. It's about Tyreek Hill. And it's about Allen Robinson, guys that move teams this year. And I'm not telling you that I think Devontae Adams is garbage, but I do think he won't be the number one receiver this year, but he'll be top 5.
If I was you, I would wait on that one because Devontae Adams is going to be fine.
I know.
Carr's good.
And they were college teammates.
And I'll tell you what, they were college teammates, but that's not it. It's their coach is going to be that they're going to be fine.
No, I feel you. I just think he takes a step back from everyone knows he's number one.
It's a good situation
for him. Top 5. I just think, my opinion, here's all I'm saying on that one. You'll see, hey, everybody, I'm going to give you some exclusive before it comes out. But I talk about, think of the guys that left there. Jordy Nelson, Greg Jennings.
Yeah,
he was a little
Jordy
old.
Nelson was not.
I know, but Greg
guy.
Jennings.
And Greg Jennings was good during Favre's time and then was a holdover.
Randall Cobb. All I'm saying is every time they leave, we get to see what they're made of outside of Aaron Rodgers. And as of yet,
Randall Cobb is not, bro. Come on, man. That's not the same thing.
I just haven't seen one leave yet.
Randall Cobb is not the same. He's little guy. Randall Cobb is a little dude. That's not Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams is a prototype.
Yep, I'm just saying. He'll be top 5.
It's a different deal.
But I'm not willing to crown him as the number one receiver in the league anymore, which I was if he plays with Rodgers. I'll crown him number 1 right now. If he's on the Packers, I'll crown him.
I'm not saying that playing with Rodgers doesn't help. What I'm telling you is don't tell me that they haven't given him studs. And Aaron Jones, for that matter. Come on, man. That guy's a stud. He played at UTEP. Yeah. But, I mean, so to me, that's when you know that, I mean, you can say what you want about the way that they handled the Aaron Rodgers thing. Maybe they're sick of his ass too. But they've tried to make it out like that front office is full of a bunch of retards.
They're brilliant.
And the truth of it is, they're not. They're they. You know what? They've been in the NFC Championship game for 3 of the last 4 years. Hey, if he gives you a team to get there and you don't make it into the Super Bowl any of those times, is that a front office problem or is that a freaking Aaron Rodgers problem? Because I got to tell you, that's an Aaron Rodgers problem.
I'm just trying to remember, like in my lifetime, it's hard for me to tell.
And he can't deal with the Niners. I get it. You know.
In my life, this is a hard subject for me, just because in my lifetime I can't remember a time when there wasn't an Aaron Rodgers or a Brett Favre. And when those guys were hurt, though, that team's garbage. When they're healthy, that team's good.
Remember when Matt what's his name that went to the
You're right.
Seahawks,
I was thinking of the last couple. You're right.
He was good. He was good, but again, no, you're right. You're right. I mean, they've definitely been blessed with. I mean, you know, it's almost like when the Niners went from Montana to Steve Young,
and then when they lost Steve Young,
I mean, they didn't win the win the same amount of Super Bowls. They won another one, but still, you're looking at 20 years that they were just insane at quarterback. So, you know. But even that's not as long of a run as what you've had between Favre and Aaron Rodgers.
Where'd Joe Montana go to college?
You know, that's Notre Dame.
You already said that. Sorry, Steve Young.
Yeah, Steve Young went to BYU.
Okay. You're pretty good.
Yeah, where did
Greg Ward?
What about who?
Greg Ward.
Who? Greg Ward? Charlie?
No,
Ward.
I was talking Greg Ward.
Who's Greg Ward?
Let me see if I can pull him up on the screen for you.
Who the hell is that?
Greg Ward, I think he's a third string receiver for Philadelphia Eagles, and I thought the reason you would know is because he played quarterback in college, so I figured you would know. I think he went to the University of Houston.
Sometimes you
he beat Texas.
I mean, that's quite obscure, bro. That is quite Texas. Obscure.
That's why I thought. Remember that? Okay. Yeah, remember that year that I'm pretty sure the coach was the guy. He actually coached Texas after he beat Texas with Greg Ward. Then they hired him, and then he sucked, and they hired another guy. What was the guy? Herman.
No,
Edwards? Not Herman Edwards.
Oh no, Herman.
Maybe it's not even Herman, but it was the Cougars coach. They beat.
Oh yeah, Tim Herman.
Tom Herman.
Tom Herman. He was the Texas coach.
Yeah,
right
and then
that.
now
he's the one they just fired for Sark.
That's the guy.
Stupid. Thank you, Texas.
That guy was good.
Because they were catching.
That guy was good.
With Tom
he beat
Herman.
Texas with Greg Ward.
That was the dumbest move. That was the stupidest move that the freaking Longhorns have made.
And that's why I thought you would know who Greg Ward is, because Greg Ward beat Texas with the Houston Cougars.
I didn't know that. No. I didn't know that, and I should have probably remembered.
Yeah, but dumb knowledge that I knew for a second.
But you know what? When Tom Herman was there, they beat Oklahoma too. So
they shouldn't have fired him.
I mean, there's a reason why he got that job. They shouldn't have fired him. No, and they're saying he was There's a lot of bad stuff that goes around Austin about Tom Herman, and I'm like, you people are lost your mind. And after this past season, when they ate crap. It's so funny to me that it's all the kids' fault. These are all top 5 freaking kids. You had top 5 classes for 10, 20 years in a row, and it's their fault, not
Where does
Sark's.
Tom Herman coach now? Because that guy needs to be coaching somewhere.
I don't know.
Chicago Bears.
He actually was in line to get he was actually in line to get the Oklahoma job. They were talking about it pretty heavy. And I was like,
dude, if y'all got him and started beating up on Texas every year, they would die. They would flip and die.
We beat up on Texas anyway, bro. Oh,
they would die.
I mean, we beat up on them anyway.
I know, but
hey, Darryl Royal, the greatest coach in Texas history, is an Oklahoma guy.
Yeah, I know, but how disrespectful? That's funny. But how disrespectful would that be that they just fired a guy in Texas? You pick him up and beat the crap out of him every year.
I was rooting for that, and as much as I'm glad that Brent Venables is there, I like Brent, And I'm glad that he brought Jeff Lebby with him. But I know a lot of people are anti-Lebby because of what happened at Baylor with him being on Bryles' staff. He's married to Bryles' daughter. I'm going to tell you, as somebody who knows who he is and about him, I think a lot of Jeff Lebby. So if you want to go there with me on that, then we can go there. I happen to know more about him than most people do. And he paid his dues and had to deal with what he had to deal with after what happened in that Bryles situation. And Kendall Bryles, for that matter, too, he's at Arkansas now as the OC. There's a reason why they're starting to get good again. You know, that guy knows what he's doing. And even Art, for that matter, there's a lot of people that'll tell you that was a witch hunt, you know, or whatever, to go after Art Bryles. What I'll tell you is that I have a problem with Art because of him throwing Chris Peterson under the bus the way he did. That player that they got that was accused of the rape, that was bullshit. Because he threw Peterson under the bus acting like they didn't warn him about him. And as a matter of fact, Chris Peterson told him, we would never have him back into our program, and you should be very worried. And he went out there and acted like that wasn't said and was like throwing him under the bus, acting like it was him that didn't warn him, and he did warn him. So to me, that was a definite misstep there. Aside from that, I know a little more about Bryles, but I don't feel like that was a Jeff Lebby problem. I don't even feel like it was a Kendall Bryles problem. I think it was Art, you know. So I'm glad that Oklahoma got Lebby. I'm glad that, hey, listen, Brent Venables, a lot of people will tell you that Dabo Swinney, you wouldn't know who he was without Brent.
I'll tell y'all right now, guys, I have a superpower when it comes to players in the NFL where I know where they all went to college. Listen to this guy talk about, like, he's speaking Chinese to me right now. I don't know who those fools are you're talking about. I got no clue. I know.
Offensive coordinator at Oklahoma, bro. Shoot. And Bryles was the head coach at Baylor when RG3 and them won.
I knew that.
The Heisman, and they were beating. Yeah.
But I'm just saying some of those guys you were naming. Anyway, it looks like we're about out of time, man. So what else we got to tell them?
We are out of time. Listen, guys, that's pretty much it. I don't know that we've really finished our thought on that. I hope we were entertaining enough tonight as it is. But keep looking for us here in the next couple of days. We're definitely, this week we should be pumping out a few more podcasts. Again, take a look at Bryce's stuff on Fantasy Sports. If you're wanting to get ready, your drafts are going to be coming up. You definitely want to be paying attention to what he's talking about. Football's only about 90 days away, folks. So it's almost that. I mean, the countdown is on. So, I hate the summertime for this very reason, that there's nothing going on. After the NBA finals are over, what the hell's left? Just golf. And then I love golf, but yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge baseball fan on television. I love to watch it in person.
It's a good time to study football.
I'm ready.
It's a good time to study.
It is a good time. Hey, listen, man, put yourself in the books. Read a book.
About football.
Read a book, folks. Read a book about football. Watch some TikTok that doesn't have anything to do with just stupid
dancing
stuff.
And stuff.
Some educational TikTok. Who thinks about educational TikTok?
Let's go. Good episode, I think. I don't know.
No. But hey, guys, and also, take a look at Way Past Due. Otis Taylor is way past due for the Hall of Fame. It's time to get him in the Hall of Fame, and you're going to hear me talking about it until we get there. That's the alarm telling me that we have to definitely get.
We have an alarm now. We're not trying to waste y'all's time anymore. Sometimes we start babbling, and we're like, we got to put it. We're learning, guys. We have no idea what we're doing. We're just having fun, and we're learning.
And listen, hey, smash the like and subscribe button, guys. If you're enjoying this at all, subscribe to us, man. Give us some love. And, I'm hoping that you're finding us. We're also on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify. We're everywhere that you can get your podcasts. So, listen to us online, wherever you like to do that. Whether we're coming to you on YouTube or through the podcast, thanks a lot for showing up for our show. Hope to see you again soon. Bryce, later, man. Take it easy, bud. Later. We'll see you next time. All right.